Hello everybody, I'm Storm here, and welcome back to Kerbal Space program. In the last episode, we designed this new mining vessel that is going to be used for mining and harvesting resources on the moon. Particularly ore is kind of this miner's job. Got it launched. It was a bit tricky getting this thing to launch because I was trying to launch it without a fairing, but these side tanks were acting like fins, which was causing aerodynamic instability during launch, which was causing the rocket to flip around, and yeah, just a mess. But eventually got it in space, and so here we are, and I am proceeding with the docking, and I'm trying out the MechJeb docking autopilot just to see how it works, because I've done the docking manually every single time. So, just trying to see how well this works. And it seems to be doing fairly well. We're closing in, 19 meters away. And so we'll just go ahead and let this guy dock up. And then we'll proceed from there. Now, one thing that I need to mention before we go much further for this episode is that this is not the same example or the same vehicle that we finally got into space last episode. I went ahead and ditched that one and launched another one because something had happened and had only gotten one of these small radiators installed. I had forgotten to mirror it when I adjusted the design. So I went ahead and redesigned that, fixed that problem. So that's back where it should be. Because we need both of those to be able to run both the drills. And I really want to be able to run both the drills at the same time. So yeah, just went ahead and did that, relaunched the thing again, and now we are about ready to dock here in 9 meters, well, 9.5, give or take. This autopilot really does take the docking nice and slow. Which is fine, it's more realistic that way, because you really don't want to be docking it in like 0.5 meter per second. That's a little quick. But the vehicle is actually performing very, very well. It seems to be nice and stable in RCS. Doesn't wobble all over the place. At least I didn't notice any. At least while I was flying it anyway. So I was actually trying to pay attention to where the center of mass was and everything to try to make sure that, you know, we keep it nice and stable. And there we are. We are connected. Excellent. And for the time being, I can go ahead and deactivate the reactor. Alright, so let me just check my balancer here. Supplies. Let's see, are those... Yeah, we're actually going to be fine there. Because this tank is actually the one that I push out from to fill out all the other tanks. All right. Let me just check my numbers. 3 years, 62 days. All right, that's fine. But we're actually going to be moving a couple of Kerbals into that lander can to go ahead and land them and begin the mining. And that is going to be Faux-Fold Kerman. So we're going to go ahead and transfer you. Where are you, by the way? I think Katzen is in there. Who's Katzen? Katzen's the pilot. Okay, that's excellent, because we need to move you from here. Transfer over to the lander can. There you go. Mito is in the mobile. Faux-Fold's in the hydroponics bay. Which really isn't doing anything right now because it's missing fertilizer. We're going to have to bring up some fertilizer. But we'll go ahead and transfer her over there. So there we go. We now have some crew. All right. Let's go ahead and now that we've been docked, we'll go ahead and undock. We need to pick up the crew. All right. Back us off. Thing is, this is such a big, heavy piece of equipment. Those RCS thrusters do not get this thing moving very fast. Alright, I want to be 0.5 meter per second. There we go. 0.5 meter per second. Alright, so Mito Kerman now has 9 years of supplies, and our crew aboard the Harvester has 34 days. That should be plenty. That should be fine. Where's the money? Probably, no, there it is. Okay, excellent. Let's fire up the reactor. And then switch to orbital maneuvering. Go ahead and retrograde. And we're going to try and land this thing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another experiment with the one of the MechJeb modules, which is the landing guidance. I want to see how it works. Not sure I'm going to use it all the time, but I do want to see if it is going to be functional, because trying to land a beast like this is going to be difficult. I mean, I could try it once manually. Alright, well, yeah, okay, that's what I'll do. We'll do it manually the first time, and then, you know, once I show that I can actually do it, then I'll probably use MechJeb for subsequent. Alright, first thing I want to do is I want to get my periapsis down. To about 100. There we go. And then we're gonna have the autopilot circularize us at the new periapsis. Why is auto warp not turned on? Auto warp, please. Thank you. Alright, then we unload the physics from the station, so things will run a little bit smoother now. Alright, now we gotta decide where we're gonna land. So let's see. Once the maneuver is done, then we can get a good look at where we are. I would prefer to land somewhere in the light and daylight. So what I'll do is we'll set up another maneuver here to drop our periapsis to like there, and I'm gonna have to try to pick a landing spot like on the fly. Let's see, we're coming in this direction, right? So when we do this maneuver, we'll be coming around here and we'll be approaching like this. So I'm gonna want the periapsis kind of over there a bit, so gonna have plenty of downrange time to pick a landing spot. Well, hopefully anyway. Alright. Well, before we do that, I'm gonna go ahead and, because this is a brand new ship, I have no idea how she's gonna perform. We're gonna quick save. Alright, let's execute the node. Get the landing legs ready. Alright, and there we are. So let's go ahead and warp us to this point. Also, well, I need to worry about line of sight for communications because I have a pilot on board. Alright, so we're going to want to do retrograde. Alright, I'm going to have to be very cautious. All right. We have the crater coming up. Should I try and put myself down in the crater? All right, let's see. Let's get those engines on. We got a lot of velocity to burn off. So we are gonna hit the crater, but let's let it drift for a little bit. So I'm slowing down a little bit faster than I anticipated, but that's okay. It's been a little while since I've done a landing, so hopefully I'm not too rusty. All right, let's get the rest of that velocity burnt off. Don't necessarily want to end up in that little crater. I mean... Okay, looks like we'll be fine. We'll be fine here. 30 meters per second, 20, 19, and... Alright, zero the engines out. Okay. Alright, so we want to be like here, and I think that will push. Okay. $5,000 meters. Actually, no, I need this on that. 2,000 meters. Alright, I need to slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. Slow it down, slow it down. Okay, we're drifting. Alright, I'd like to set it so that we're Slowing down ever so slightly. Try to eliminate that horizontal drift. We still have a little bit of it. I can actually use the RCS. This thing has absolutely tons of delta V, so I'm drifting in that direction. I'm in orbit. No, no, no. I need to be on surface. Oh, boy. That's why. Uh-oh. Get the retrograde. Get the retrograde. Hold on. Okay. Slow us down. Slow us down. I was like, wait a minute. Why am I still drifting? Okay. Alright, we recovered, we recovered. We're gonna be on a bit of a slope. A little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more speed, a little bit more thrust. Bring it down nice and easy. Nice and easy. Don't want to hit too hard. There we are. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Now, I believe I set it to 4. Yes. Okay. So I'll deploy the extra radiators. Deploy the drills, and then 5 should turn the drills on. There we are. And we are harvesting ore. Now I could just like, warp this forward a little bit. It still says you have 13 days of supply, so that's interesting. Yep, all the ore tanks are filling. Alright, so yeah, I guess we'll just go ahead and just warp forward. A bunch. Just get those tanks full. And almost full. And there. Done. Okay, so we can go ahead and turn the drills off. Retract the drills. Okay. And everybody is still fine as far as temperature goes. Very good. Alright, so MechJeb, let's go ahead and set the ascent guidance. 100 kilometers. We don't want them... Well, there's no stages to auto-stage, so it will be fine. Go ahead and tell it to take us off. Okay, that's an interesting ascent profile it's using. Oh, I guess it works. And so this ore is going to have to get converted to lithium, and then we're going to have to refuel this guy with lithium. And we'll have to see how much extra we make. Because we need to be able to not only keep this refueled, but also produce more than what this consumes on a typical mining trip. Which, I mean, we should. And hopefully this will have enough delta V to get back to the station. Which it should. I mean, we've got 1600 meters per second. These guys are getting pretty warm. Maybe I'll go ahead and extend those radiators while we're in flight. Alright, 94.7. Oh yeah, we'll have plenty of fuel. Plenty of fuel. Alright, and we are in orbit. Okay. Now, do I still have that targeted? I still do have that targeted. Now, I do have a rendezvous planner, right? A rendezvous autopilot. There we go. Say 150 meters. And so that will take care of the whole rendezvous process for us. And then we can dock. Alright, well, what I might go ahead and do is pause the recording while I rendezvous and dock, because, you know, that's going to just take a little bit. And then we'll see where we're going to go from there. Alright, I'll be back once we're approaching the station again. Alright, here we are. We're on approach for docking. So just go ahead and watch this process. It can be somewhat slow. Using the autopilot again, it just makes things easier. And I think I've shown that I'm more than capable of doing a manual docking if I need to. Alright, so what I was kind of thinking about here is, what is the next plan? For us to do here. Now that we have an operational space station that can harvest and process resources, I think the next plan is going to be get those unmanned probes from Joule and Elu back home, which will take some time. But we need that science at this point, because I need to unlock some more tech, because the next big project is going to be designing and building the next interplanetary research vessel. So we'll be able to take Kerbals to potentially Eve and the Joule system, things like that. So yeah, that's going to need to be a much larger, more sophisticated vehicle. But we need some additional parts. We're going to need some of the better engines, some of the more powerful engines here, stuff like that. Alright, now the one thing is that this thing has been kind of struggling to bleed off the heat. I'm not really struggling, but you know, at least this radiator is kind of heating up here. I have the reactor off, so it's just trying to cool the reactor down at the moment. But it seems to be doing okay. And once we actually dock, then we'll be able to connect the heat transfer system to the radiators on the station, and then that should hopefully help cool the reactor down. Now I'm coming in on this port, even though it really doesn't matter which port I use. But I would think that, you know, when we're going to transfer the ore, we're probably going to want to use, this is like the cargo port, this is the passenger port. Not really passenger, but that's the, you know, personnel port. This is the cargo port. So we're going to dump cargo, we're going to use that port. When we need to transfer crew, we'll use that port. Well, I mean, not really. Because, I mean, we can still just transfer crew, but... hopefully, these nozzles are not going to cause any problems here. They shouldn't. We should have plenty of clearance on either side of that docking port. And it lets me keep these radiators extended as well if I use that port instead of this one. And also allows me to point these solar panels towards the sun so that we get enough power off of them. So that we can keep the electric charge recharging. Because the reactor is off. So those solar panels are our only source of energy at the moment. Oh, and the drills also need to be cooled off. Because they are still hot. So yeah, that is another good reason to have this many radiators. I didn't even think about that. Because not only once we actually attach a full-on reactor to this station, but the miners, when they come in, which we might eventually have more than one miner, they're going to need cool down as well. So... because waste heat is a bit of an issue in space, because obviously you have no atmosphere, so you don't have like convective transfer like you do. So, you know, it's not like you can blow air across the heat sink. To carry away the heat. The only real method of bleeding off heat is through, you know, radiating the heat. Alright, we're closing in, and oh yeah, we got lots of clearance. Alright, and once we're docked, we'll go ahead and transfer the ore to this tank. We'll go ahead and move the crew as well. And also need to check on like supplies. Oh, we hardly touched the supplies though. Now it says they have 32 days. I wonder why I was saying they only had 13 days before. Odd. Alright, there we are, we're docked. Alright, so these tanks are going to take that ore in. So now, theoretically, you're empty. You could go disconnect and go on another harvest run if you wanted to. But we're not. This is our first load. So it's going to be about, you know, figuring out how this thing all works. Alright, transfer crew. Katzen can head back to the command module. Okay, the core, there we go. And then, Fofal can transfer back to the hydroponics bay. Alright, so that should be cooling down. It is. Well, are you guys actually starting to take up any of the load? Yeah, they are. Okay. Alright, but for now, let's go ahead and fire up the Convertitron here. And what we want to do is we want to make lithium. Alright, core temp. Make sure that this thing doesn't overheat, which it shouldn't. Nope, it's not. Alright, so what we should see now is the ore levels should be dropping, and our lithium levels should be increasing. And they are. Excellent. Alright, so now when we have a ship, we can bring them over here, we can hook it up to this, and we can load 30,000 lithium. I might want to add additional lithium tanks, but for now, that works. And perhaps we can even do some other... What else can I make here? Liquid fuel and oxidizer, monopropellant, refilling everybody's monopropellant might not be a bad idea, but I mean, we have lots of monopropellant. I mean, LH2, LH2 and oxidizer. Now, what I can't do is make like argon and xenon and those sorts of things. Like if I wanted to use ion thrusters or like Hall effect thrusters or anything like that. That's not really an issue, I don't think, but it's definitely something to think about. Now, is it also transferring lithium into these tanks? It is. Alright, well, this is going to take a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and head back to the Space Center. Because I'd like to figure out if there is a converter for that. Because we might want that. Experimental science. Cryogenic atmospheric condenser. Argon gas. Xenon gas. Atmosphere use. Intake air. Not exactly what I'm looking for. Mark III holding tank for ore. Mark II holding tank for ore. Jumbo converter module, that's the big one. Now you can make argon. And xenon. Okay. From ore, right? Ore, yes. Okay. So that's going to need huge holding tank. Narrow band scanner. Oceanic extractor. So, oceanic use. Is it outputs ore? Originally a bilge pump for ocean-going vessels, the unit has been adapted and modified to serve as oceanic resource harvester by making it pump liquids in rather than out. Warning, prolonged use may cause vessel to sink. Mini converter module. Now, you produce argon and xenon as well. You're small. Yeah, I think this is what I need. $36 per hour. Yeah, because if I'm using that, you don't need a ton, right? You don't need a ton of those gases, because usually they're for fairly small, low-thrust engines, and your tanks are small anyway. Stack mining excavator. Okay. Stack oceanic extractor. Okay. So that's what we're going after there. So that's 1,000 science. Advanced photovoltaic materials. I really do need that. Cutting edge solar technology. Advanced plasma propulsion. That's another thing I need right there. So the primary stuff we're going to be going after, I'm guessing, for the next vessel is going to be advanced plasma propulsion. Specialized plasma propulsion. Repulsor pulsed inductive thruster. Ooh. Plasma thrusters. Well, this is a big magnetoplasma dynamic engine, pulse inductive thrusters, lithium tanks. Yeah, probably we want to go after these solar tech, this science tech. There's nothing in these. Orbital assembly we don't really need. High performance fuel systems might be nice. Experimental rocketry. But we also going to need the nuclear fuel systems. Right? So we can actually have some nuclear fuel drums. Because that's also another bit of an issue, is that our reactors are limited by how much fuel they can actually carry. In terms of endurance. And for a long-term mission to the outer edges of the system, we're going to need more than 3 years worth of endurance. So yeah, specialized radiators. Okay, so I have a plan there. Do I actually want to check something? Oh, don't need that there. You, come on. You actually can produce fertilizer from ore. Oh, really? Now this is the one that I brought up there, right? Cryogenic gas separator. No, that's an atmospheric. Yeah, this is the one I brought up. Yeah, you can't do that. I am going to need to send up one of these. Because it can make fertilizer from ore. And we need fertilizer for the hydroponics module to replenish supplies. Okay. Can it make the gases? No, it cannot. What is this? Is a 3.75 meter docking ring? Interesting. I don't know why it's in there. Alright, so I think at this point we're kind of out of stuff to do without starting to really advance time a bit. So I think we'll go ahead and end the episode here. And when we come back for next time, we'll be getting those science probes back, unlocking the tech, and starting design work on the next vehicle. And probably in the meantime, I'll make some further adjustments. I'll get that other converter up to the station. I'll probably run a few more mining runs to pick up some more ore. Maybe I'll stick another tank. Maybe lithium tank on the station. And yeah, that's going to be the plan. All right, so for now, we'll stop here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you next time.